Jay Z suffered some really big losses in court this week that I was not expecting to happen. And I must say, Buzbee did not put up a pretty good fight. The court basically made the decision for Buzbee without much input for him. But like I said, Jay Z lost. And maybe that's why Beyonce went and put on the performance of her life because her husband is losing in court. And honestly, we talked about it on this channel as to why I didn't think a lot of these things were going to go forward and why the case was not going to get dismissed on the basis that Jay Z was asking for. And I have to let y'all know right now, the court is a teensy weensy bit, or maybe a lot of it, very annoyed with Jay Z and his attorneys and all the filings they have been doing. If you have been following this case with me, you know that Jay Z was added to this lawsuit accusing Diddy and Jay Z of SAing a 13-year-old girl. He was added into the lawsuit on December 8th. And since then, he has filed several motions, several letters, several things letting the court know why they think that Buzbee and the plaintiff is wrong for filing the lawsuit. They also try to use an NBC article, which we talked about on this channel, as hearsay to try to get rid of the lawsuit. And I will say, Buzbee was right about one thing. You cannot use that as a basis to get the case dismissed. And so Jay-Z tried some other creative routes that we're going to get into today. But like I said, Buzbee didn't even have to put up much of a fight. I still think he's doing wrong, and I still think he's doing things that are wrong in the case. But the court is not too happy with how Jay-Z's attorney and Jay-Z himself is handling this case. So if you guys have been watching me for a while, for the last couple of weeks or so, we are live. So there may be some mistakes here. We are not editing because we're live and we like to be live. Anyways, if you have comments that you want to drop on the live stream, make sure you're dropping it in the chat. If you're on the replay, go ahead and drop it in the comment section. And if you are here and you have not hit the like button yet, please do. It does help us out in the algorithm. And we're going to get into some juicy details going on in one of these Diddy civil lawsuits. It's really the only Diddy civil lawsuit that's moving forward, because Jay-Z is trying to get dismissed from the case. And just to give y'all a little preview, there is actually a decision on whether this plaintiff is going to be able to remain anonymous. So y'all go ahead and drop in the comment section. If y'all already seen the news, don't say nothing. But if you haven't seen the news yet, and you have an opinion on whether this plaintiff should be able to proceed anonymously, and if you think the court thinks that this plaintiff should or should not be able to proceed anonymously, go ahead and drop it in the chat. And if you're on the replay, drop it in the comment section. Let's go ahead and have Bossy B bring us in. Okay, like I said, the thumbnail says that Buzbee claps back, but he really didn't. He didn't go off, okay? He just kind of commented a little bit and the court did the rest of the work. So let's jump into Buzbee's letter that he wrote, I guess, last week to basically say why Jay-Z and his attorney's motions are inappropriate and why the court should not rule in favor of what Jay-Z has asked. If y'all don't recall, Jay-Z asked for the plaintiff to disclose themselves, tell us who you are, you cannot be anonymous. They asked for the case to be dismissed because they're saying that Buzbee is violating rules and not vetting the claims based on that NBC interview. They're saying that the case should also be dismissed because what was the other reason why they said they could have, that it was salacious. Like, it should be dismissed because the allegations against him are salacious and they're not even accurate. They didn't do a motion, the failure to state a claim. They didn't say that they should be dismissed on a motion of summary judgment because the facts just won't, the facts are not provable in court based on the plaintiff being unable to recall certain things. And then they're also asking for Jay-Z to be stricken out or taking his name out of the complaint, or just to get rid of the complaint in general, the first amended complaint in general. So let's go ahead and jump into Buzbee's letter as to why he thinks that Jay-Z's attorneys suck. And I'm not saying that Jay-Z's attorneys suck. I think they came in too hot. I will have to say they came in too hot. And the court doesn't like it. And Buzbee doesn't like it either. So let's see what he has to say. They're writing a letter. This is Buzbee writing the letter to Judge Torres, the judge on the case. By letter motion filed on December 13, 2024, defendant Sean Carter notified the court of his intention to file a motion to strike and motion for sanctions immediately under Rule 11C2 and 12F. As with defendant Carter prior letters filed in this case, it is histrionic in tone and substantively groundless. Defendant Carter threatens plaintiff with a Rule 11 motion based on questions raised by one single television interview concerning events occurring 24 years ago. Now, I don't like how Buzbee tries to make excuses for his client here. He's like, this event happened 24 years ago. How is she expected to know the facts? Because she's filing a lawsuit. That's why we expect her to know the facts that she's talking about. But the way he tries to minimize the fact that his client doesn't know exactly what she's accusing Jay Z of, diabolical in my opinion, but he goes on. So he is based on the questions raised by one single television interview concerning events occurring 24 years ago when plaintiff was 13 years old. Defendant Carter also asked the court to alter the federal rules of civil procedure in his favor by abrogating the mandatory 21-day Rule 11 safe harbor period without any legal support or factual justification whatsoever. The former is frivolous and the latter is impermissible. So he is referring to Jay Z asking for the court to dismiss the case, which we talked about on the last live stream. That's not even a remedy to the Rule 11 sanction, right? That I don't think Buzbee ever mentions this, but it's not even a remedy to the Rule 11 sanction. But when you are saying that an attorney is doing something wrong and they're going to ask for attorney's fees from that attorney or sanctions from that attorney, essentially you have to pay over money. You have to give them a 21-day notice. Like, hey, your filings suck. It's not supported by the facts. You need to withdraw it. You have to kind of send them a do this or else, kind of like a cease and desist letter. You have to send that over to them. And what Buzbee is saying is that Jay Z didn't do it. Instead, he filed it. And then he asked for the safe harbor or the response to be 1 day rather than the 21 days. So that's what we're talking about right there. Defendant Carter's threat of a Rule 11 motion is frivolous because it characterizes run-of-the-mill disputes as fact, as proof that plaintiff complaint is baseless. I agree with him right there. I said that on the last live stream. Just because you don't agree with the facts or the facts are in dispute is not a reason to dismiss it as baseless. We talked about that on the last live stream. None of the factual issues Carter identifies are sufficient even to grant summary judgment in Carter's favor, much less support a Rule 11 sanction. The fact that defendant or a potential witness does not agree with or recollect the facts alleged in the complaint does not and cannot give rise to a motion for sanctions for filing a baseless complaint. Defendant Carter's threat of an immediate sanctions motion on the first whisper of factual uncertainty is just one more instance of bullying intending to have a chilling effect on plaintiff's counsel, and any potential plaintiffs watching these proceedings, because we know that Buzbee is filing 1.9 million of these complaints, and he does not want his other plaintiffs being scared off by the aggressive nature that Jay Z came back swinging. He came out swinging. He does not want to be named in this lawsuit, and he should. Did he do too much too fast? Maybe. The court thinks so. And we're going to get into that in just a little bit. So they go on to say, and one thing about Buzbee, okay, I have to say, one thing about Buzbee, and I can't blame him all the way because Jay Z kind of started it. No, but Buzbee was like this anyways. He is going to focus on the allegations against him. Like I said, this case is not even about the plaintiff anymore. This case is about Buzbee and Jay Z beefing on the internet and beefing in court filings. That is what this case is about. We're not even talking about the case half the time. We're talking about how Jay Z thinks Buzbee sucks and Buzbee thinks Jay Z sucks, okay? That's what the lawsuit is right now. And majority of this 3-page letter is about Buzbee trying to defend himself as to why himself personally should not be sanctioned versus the validity of the claims of his client. So let's go on. A Rule 11 motion is frivolous on the additional grounds that expecting a victim of SA over 2 decades ago when A Rule 11 motion is frivolous on the additional ground that expecting a victim of SA over 2 decades ago when that victim was a minor and, as her interview revealed, also autistic. I think I missed that part. I know they said she has some brain injury, but I did not realize she was also autistic. So again, this is going to be an interesting thing to go to trial. To have her to have a perfect recall of all the facts is outrageous. So they're basically saying because she was a minor, she was a victim of SA, and she's autistic, she is not going to know all the facts that happened. And Jay Z is outrageous for thinking that she should know those facts that happened 24 years ago. Defendant Carter twists plaintiff's word when he accuses her, for instance, of guessing at the timing of events alleged in the complaint, such as the length of the car rides. He goes on to not explain how the claim, let me see, but how he misstated it. Basically, I've completely lost my train of thought. He does not go on to explain how Carter or Jay Z misstated it, but whatever, he puts it in there. But New York courts have expressly acknowledged that plaintiffs in this type of case cannot be expected to have exacting recall and command of all relevant facts. They cite a case where the court said, we recognize that in matters of SA involving minors, as recounted by survivors years after the fact, dates and times are sometimes approximate and incapable of calendrical exactitude, and approving allegations spanning a 4-year window of time in which the abuse could have occurred. And so we talked about this on the live stream. Some people are coming out and saying, well, no, actually she was 16 and it was in 2003. Or they're saying they're now changing the timeline of maybe she's just mixing up the years. And so everything is not going to be fully accurate. Buzbee is basically citing a case that has found when there was a minor victim of SA, their timeframes could expand 4 years, which to me seems a bit of a stretch. I guess you should know about what age you were, but at the same time, when you are dealing with trauma and especially SA, you might have blacked some things out and you can't necessarily remember. You remember you was young, but you don't really remember what grade you were in, right? Or she might remember who was on TV, but not necessarily who she talked to at the party, for instance. That's one other thing that she got wrong. So I think that's interesting to give you a 4-year window. But also, I guess I can understand when it comes to people that young. There is no basis for a Rule 11 motion here, and if filed, such a motion would itself be subject to a Rule 11 motion in response. Of course, we cannot prevent Defendant Carter from wasting the resources of this court and all parties in pursuing one. So he basically is saying, if you file sanctions against me, I'm going to file sanctions against you. How about that? However, Defendant Carter's request that the court shorten the filing deadline for his threatened Rule 11 motion from 21 days to 1 day is entirely improper. Carter fails to cite any precedent whatsoever to support his astonishing request because there is none. Carter also fails to cite any reason why the federal rules of civil procedure should be abrogated in his favor. In this particular case, again, there is none. I have to agree with Buzbee. I did not think I would be saying that so many times on this live stream. I would have to agree with Buzbee that Jay Z did not give any reasoning as to why they should change the timeline of a federal rule. So that probably wasn't the best move. I noticed that. I think Buzbee is doing a good job in calling that out. The 21-day safe harbor rule under Rule 11 exists to provide parties and counsel time to assess the objections being made and to withdraw or modify a pleading or other papers if necessary. The safe harbor period has been recognized by the Second Circuit as a strict procedural requirement. Let's see. It cannot be shortened here because Mr. Carter and his counsel request as much, whether in an attempt to play gotcha or to exert additional pressure on plaintiff for any other reason. I do think that a lot of the rush tactic from Jay Z is to exert the pressure, like, okay, we're messing stuff up. Let's just go ahead and pull this case. Let's get her deemed as not anonymous. Then they won't refile the case. I honestly think when they say that this woman cannot proceed anonymously, the case is going to go away. It's not going to go further, and people are going to be wasting attorney's fees. And remember, we have a decision on whether she's going to be able to proceed anonymously or not. Because remember, Buzbee renewed his motion to allow the plaintiff to proceed anonymously, and Jay Z filed an objection to whether this plaintiff should be able to proceed anonymously. And the court made a decision for us the day before New Year's Eve. So we do have a decision on that, and we're going to get to it in just a moment. From the outset, Defendant Carter and his counsel have shrilly maintained maintained an entitlement to different rules and faster procedures. I have to agree with them. They are rushing through it. From expedited briefing on the issue of y'all know I can't say that word, being anonymous, and a summary dismissal of plaintiff's complaint to now a wholesome elimination of the 21-day safe harbor rule under Rule 11. In each instance, the goal has been to blur the facts and rush a decision, but there is aggressive advocacy and then there is bad faith. Mr. Carter's latest tactics, much like his open threat to refer plaintiff's attorney to disciplinary action, cross that line. One thing that I find interesting in these documents is that Jay Z's stuff completely attacks Buzbee, but Buzbee's stuff completely attacks Jay Z. We see Mr. Carter over and over and over and over again, but we have to remember that Mr. Carter, aka Jay Z, has an attorney. So shouldn't he be attacking the attorney back, not the actual party to the case? No, not in this case, because they are having an internet beef. They're having a social media beef, and he's going to attack Carter, the party to the case, rather than the attorney for doing inappropriate things. The attorney makes these procedural and these court decisions. Jay Z just tells them the facts. So for Buzbee to be attacking a party, I think it's completely inappropriate, but y'all let me know what y'all think about it. Moreover, outside of the courtroom, Mr. Carter has employed tactics of intimidation. And guess what, y'all? We are about to learn about a brand new lawsuit. Yep, we got yet another lawsuit filed between Buzbee and Jay Z. Shocking. I wish I had like a little gasp on my soundboard. But anyways, moreover, outside of the courtroom, Mr. Carter has employed tactics of intimidation and harassment, even more extreme, torturous, and quite possibly illegal. My firm, so the Buzbee law firm again, y'all, recently filed a lawsuit in Harris County, Texas, that details how Mr. Carter's company, Rock Nation, and his counsel, his attorneys, now we're going after his attorneys, have bribed my clients to file lawsuits against my firm, threaten former clients, impersonate state officials, and engage in other behavior far beyond the pale of acceptable conduct. Their tactics won't work, and they will be addressed in more detail in connection with the parties' briefing on plaintiffs being anonymous. So we're going to break it down. Okay, there's a couple more paragraphs. Let's get through this. We're going to talk about this lawsuit in a minute. Like Mr. Combs, Mr. Carter is rich and famous and powerful. Mr. Carter will exert all the pressure he can to intimidate and harass plaintiff, me, or anyone else. God dang, you're not you saying me. You've been referring to yourself as plaintiff's counsel this entire time. Now you're like, he's bullying me. Come on, Buzbee. Okay, the chilling effect of those efforts is substantial, as is the potential chilling effect of a Rule 11 motion being brought in these circumstances. But ultimately, in our court system, the rules are the same for Mr. Carter and for the plaintiff here. And the Rule 11 safe harbor cannot be abrogated on his whim. Finally, defendant Carter raises the status of my admission. Okay, so we get into whether he's actually admitted. Newsflash, he's not. He's not. Let's go on. Let's listen to his excuses. Finally, defendant Carter raises the status of my admission in the Southern District of New York. As with his previous letters to the court, his December 13 letter includes a substantial amount of defamatory suggestions about me, including that I am somehow attempting to circumvent the authority of this court to enforce Rule 11 against me. That is nonsense. I am a member of the State Bar of New York, and I am admitted to the Eastern District of New York. Y'all, we in the Southern District, okay? I intend, not I have, not I'm doing, but I intend. I'm still thinking about it. I intend to apply for reciprocal admission to the Southern District. The fact that I have signed pleadings and letters filed in this court does not reflect any attempt by me to evade responsibility for anything. To the contrary, I have signed those pleadings and papers because I am lead counsel in this and other similar cases pending in this district. That doesn't mean you're properly admitted into the district. So how about you stop intending and go and do? Okay. So like I said, Buzbee had a little clap back, right? I think he was correct in some things. You can't just get away from the 21-day harbor. But that was literally his only defense. that there's a timeline for the Rule 11 sanctions against him. There's no other arguments against anything else here. It's just, don't file sanctions against me. What is your problem, Jay Z? Do not file sanctions against me. That's what the entire letter was. And he goes, oh, and I'm not admitted to the bar, but I will be. Or no, he said, I'm not admitted to practice in the district, but I will be. And I can sign the papers because I'm lead counsel. Sir, you got to follow the rules. You want Jay Z to follow the rules, you also have to follow the rules. But let's get into this nonsense of this man saying that him, Buzbee, and his law firm filed a lawsuit against Jay Z or his company, Rock Nation, and his attorneys. Apparently, I'm gonna have to go find it. I'm pretty sure they allow for the free documents in that county. But they filed a lawsuit against Jay Z in Texas for intimidation and basically almost like extortion, pretty close to extortion claims. Let's not forget, Jay Z has already filed a lawsuit against Buzbee in California. He had already filed a lawsuit against Buzbee for extortion in California. And then Buzbee adds Jay Z to this lawsuit, which is a federal case in New York. Okay, so now we're in California and now we're in New York. And then Buzbee not only adds him to this lawsuit, he is now suing him in Texas for intimidation, which, remember, the plaintiff in this case is saying she's afraid they're going to try to intimidate her if she discloses her identity. So we have 3 lawsuits going on between, at least 2 of them are against a party and the law firm. And then now we have this case where it's this anonymous plaintiff against the party, Jay Z. So Jay Z and Buzbee have more lawsuits against each other than this plaintiff has against freaking Jay Z. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know where we go from here. This is just going to be them suing each other back and forth until we figure out what's going on with Diddy's criminal case, which I haven't even looked into in a couple weeks because all this stuff has been happening in this case. And I think the channel likes this case. So y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the chat. I can't get over the fact that Buzbee has filed a new lawsuit. I can't get over the fact that this letter only has to do with Buzbee and his Rule 11, I guess because that was the most recent letter. But they also talked about Rule 12F. He didn't address that either. I can't get over it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let's have Bossy B bring us into the next document, which I don't even remember what it is at this point. Okay, we got a really short one from Jay Z. So this is him again opposing the party, opposing the plaintiff being able to proceed anonymously. So this is Jay Z basically saying we're renewing our motion with a little bit of extra facts. It's a very short document. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. Jay Z really does not want this plaintiff to be anonymous. I think a big part of why he doesn't want the plaintiff to be anonymous is because once the plaintiff has to identify herself, I don't think that the lawsuit is going to be filed again because I really don't think she wants her identity out there. And like I said, the court has already made a decision on whether she's going to be able to proceed anonymously. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know if y'all know if she should be able to proceed anonymously. And y'all, if y'all haven't hit the like button, please do. It does help us out. We're at 17 likes. We're doing good. We're doing really good, but we got 21 people watching live. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. It does help out the channel, helps us find more friends. And, we're trying to grow the channel per usual. So let's jump into this document that Jay Z has filed yet again. This is defendant Sean Carter's, Jay Z's opposition to plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously. And remember, Buzbee called Jay Z out for his original motion to not allow the lady to proceed anonymously because you can't file a motion, just respond to the motion that we already filed. And so basically, this is Jay Z responding to the motion that was already filed instead of improperly filing his own motion saying, show yourself, we don't want you to be anonymous. Okay. Consistent with the arguments raised in his motion to deny plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously, defendant Sean Carter respectfully submits this memorandum of law in opposition to plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously. We are not going to read the memo of points in authority because it's literally the same thing that was already filed. They just attach it to this little thing of why she shouldn't be able to be anonymous. For the reasons set forth in Mr. Carter's motion to deny plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously, the balance of interest at stake weighs strongly against granting plaintiff's motion to proceed under a pseudonym. The fundamental question is whether plaintiff has a substantial privacy interest that outweighs the customary and constitutionally embedded presumption of openness in judicial proceedings. She does not. Plaintiff, who is an adult, has now decided to file an amended complaint through her counsel, although her counsel has since admitted he did not vet it, in which she accuses Mr. Carter of engaging in heinous conduct more than 20 years ago. She has chosen to have her counsel loudly try the case in the media and the court of public opinion. Indeed, 5 days after she filed the motion, plaintiff sat for an interview with NBC where she expressed that she is not afraid to advocate for herself, and in which she discussed personal details about herself, such as her status as a person with autism. Moreover, there is no evidence of exceptional circumstances that in and of themselves justify overriding the constitutional presumption of openness. Mr. Carter has a right to defend himself, including by investigating plaintiff, and the people have a right to know who is using their courts. That is especially true, whereas here, plaintiff interviewed with NBC made clear that there are blatant factual inconsistencies in her story, including who she spoke with, where the alleged conduct took place, and even how she got home, requiring plaintiff to admit that she has made some mistakes. For example, plaintiff claimed her father picked her up after the incident and drove her home, but when asked by NBC, plaintiff's father denied recalling ever picking his daughter up and driving her over 5 hours home to Rochester. But the identity of plaintiff's father, a crucial defense witness, is presently unknown to Mr. Carter due to plaintiff's use of a pseudonym. Plaintiff has not carried her burden to show that she is entitled to any exceptional remedy here. For the foregoing reasons, he basically requests that she cannot proceed anonymously. And then we have a footnote saying that Mr. Carter filed his motion to deny plaintiff's request to proceed anonymously 1 day after plaintiff filed her motion. Mr. Carter fully incorporates all arguments set forth in his motion attached as Exhibit 1. And so we've already covered that memo of points and authorities of why she should not be able to proceed anonymously, but they threw in a couple of more facts from that interview, including the fact that she's autistic, including the fact that her daddy don't remember driving her when she's claiming that's what her dad did. They want to be able to ask her questions because her statements are already inconsistent, and we're not even into the response. Jay Z has not even filed a response in this action. Diddy, of course, has not filed a response in this action because he's in jail. He's in jail. So Jay-Z is like, no, we need to know who this person is. And a big reason why I think he wants to know who this person is because he wants the lawsuit to go away. He wants it to go away. But the court has something for Jay-Z. I've been teasing it since the beginning of the live stream. The judge is not happy. The judge is not happy. And y'all, let me know in the chat why you would think the judge is not happy with Jay-Z and the way that his attorneys are trying this case, okay? As we know, both parties, both Buzbee, who's not a party, but the attorney to a party, and Jay-Z are trying this case in social media. They're posting, they're tweeting, they're announcing every time something is filed, except it seems like they both calmed down because I haven't heard nobody talk about this. And this came out like 3 days ago, okay? I would have thought somebody would have covered this already, but they haven't. So I'm happy to be the first, the only that I know about. There might be somebody else that covered it, but so far, I'm the first and only. They're trying this case in social media, in the court of public opinion. They're both accusing the other of doing it, and they're both doing it, okay? Y'all know me. I'm unbiased here. We're looking at everything objectively, because we're playing lawyer here, okay? Objectively, they both are doing things wrong. And the court, they're not really happy with either one of them, but the court is especially not happy with Jay Z. Let's see what the court has to say, because the court is making an order regarding whether this is about to be dismissed. Okay. They're going to make a decision whether this plaintiff is going to be able to proceed anonymously. And then they're going to address some of the other motions to strike and things like that. So let's jump into it. This is coming straight from the judge. Oh, filed today. I thought this one was filed a couple of days ago, but that was the other documents we just covered. But this one was filed today. So that explains why no one has covered it. See, this is the intricacies of being live. You could be loud and wrong all at the same time. Okay, let's go on. Plaintiff Jane Doe filed this action on October 20th, 2024, alleging violation of the New York City Victims of Gender-Motivated Violence Act. By order dated November 6, 2024, the court provisionally granted plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously, explaining that defendants had yet to appear in the matter and that the balance of the interest weighing for or against being anonymous may shift as her suit continues. On December 8, 2024, plaintiff amended her complaint to add Sean Carter, known professionally as Jay Z, as a defendant. Plaintiff again sought leave to proceed anonymously, but this time Carter's counsel appeared and moved to deny her motion, or in the alternative, to dismiss her amended complaint pursuant to the Federal Rules 12b-1. Carter also moved for an expedited hearing. And right here is when I knew it started going down for Jay Z. When they listed out everything Jay Z's attorneys have done so far, I knew this was not going to be favorable to him. I knew this is where it started going downhill, and this is the second paragraph of the order. Let's go on. So they go on to say, on December 8th, plaintiff amended her complaint to add Sean Carter, known professionally as Jay Z, as the defendant. Plaintiff again sought leave to proceed anonymously, but this time Carter's counsel appeared and moved to deny her motion, or in the alternative, to dismiss her amended complaint pursuant to Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12b-1. That's the first thing Jay Z did. Carter also, when you get them alsos in there, not happy, okay? This is writing with an attitude. I know it doesn't seem like it off of first glance, but this is writing with an attitude immediately. Carter also moved for an expedited hearing on the issue. A second issue the court is taking issue with. The next day, Carter's attorney filed a letter containing a declaration from an associate at his law firm recounting a phone conversation she had with an unnamed woman who claimed that plaintiff's counsel encouraged her to lie about her experience of SA. Third issue the court is taking up. Carter's lawyer asked the court to consider the additional information in connection with plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously. Now, Jay Z, we pointed this out when we covered this. You are complaining about this lady proceeding anonymously, but then you submit a declaration to the court about a lady that wants to proceed anonymously and saying that Buzbee is a liar, liar, pants on fire. The court is calling you out. I know it doesn't seem like it, but they are. So 3 issues they're taking offense to. Plaintiff's counsel denied Carter's allegations against him. On December 13, 2024, Carter's attorney filed an additional letter alerting the court to recently published interview of plaintiff on NBC News. In the interview, and so 4th issue, right? In the interview, plaintiff speaking anonymously, y'all see that word anonymously, plaintiff speaking anonymously explained her allegations against defendant and her reasons for coming forward now. Carter's lawyers point to the interview in which plaintiff admitted to inconsistencies in her stories as evidence that plaintiff claims have no factual basis whatsoever. Remember, he's disputing the facts at this point. It's not the appropriate time to ask for dismissal. We talked about that on the last live stream. So let's see. Okay. He also argued that plaintiff's counsel violated rules of civil procedure 11b by failing to undertake a reasonable inquiry into the facts before filing the complaint and failing to seek pro-advice admission to the court. Carter's attorney requested an expedited briefing schedule for a motion to strike the first amended complaint under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 11c2 and 12f, basically saying it's salacious. They're just saying all this stuff is scandalous. It's making me look bad. That's not a reason to dismiss the case, Jay Z. what the court's saying. So 5 issues the court is taking a point with Jay Z, who has only been involved in this case for almost 20 days. Not even 20 days yet. He's been involved in this case, and he has already caused 5 issues, addressed 5 issues with the court. He hasn't even filed an answer yet, okay? The next day, Carter's counsel, and this is, we get into the attitude, right? The next day, Carter's counsel submitted yet another. This judge is going off professionally, of course, with bench etiquette on decorum as a judicial officer, okay? Yet another filing, a motion for an emergency order directing the preservation of evidence and striking the amended complaint under Rule 12F. So 6 issues. I stopped at 5, but we had 6 issues that the court is like, why am I hearing from you this much? That's an average of 1 filing per day on the days that court was actually in session. Okay, let's go on. They're going to first address the motion to proceed anonymously. In deciding whether plaintiff may proceed anonymously, the court must balance the plaintiff's interest in being anonymous against both the public interest in disclosure and any prejudice to the defendant. The Second Circuit has laid out a non-exhaustive list of the factors to be considered. Let's remind ourselves of what some of those factors are. So 1, whether the litigation involves matters that are highly sensitive and of a personal nature, which this does. We're talking about SA of a minor at the time. Whether identification poses a risk of retaliatory physical or mental harm to the parties seeking to proceed anonymously, or even more critically, to innocent non-parties. In this case, she's claiming that she will be harassed. Buzbee has already filed a lawsuit claiming that Jay Z and his team are harassing people. So maybe that one goes in favor of the plaintiff. Whether the identification presents other harms and the likely severity of those harms, including whether the injury litigated against would be incurred as a result of the disclosure of the plaintiff's identity. Okay, any identification that might cause harm. Whether the plaintiff is particularly vulnerable to the possible harm of disclosure, particularly in light of her age, probably not now because she's an adult, right? Whether the suit is challenging the actions of a government or that of a private party. We're talking about private parties, not the government. Whether the defendant is prejudiced by allowing the plaintiff to press her claims anonymously. Whether the nature of that prejudice, if any, differs at any particular stage of the litigation. And whether any prejudice can be mitigated by the district court. It seems like Jay Z has some prejudice against him. He can't question this person. He doesn't know who it is, right? And he can't question her father because he don't know who she is. How's he supposed to know who her dad is, right? Whether the plaintiff's identity has thus far been kept confidential. She's done an interview, but as you saw, the court highlighted that the interview was done anonymously, right? Whether the public's interest in litigation is furthered by requiring the plaintiff to disclose her identity. I think so. They're trying this case in the social media, right? We're learning about this case through filings on social media. Whether because the purely legal nature of the issues presented are otherwise, there is a atypical weak public interest in knowing the litigant's identity. No, this is a very strong interest in knowing the identities. Whether there are any alternative mechanisms for protecting the confidentiality of the plaintiff. The court is not required to list each of the factors or use any particular formulation as long as it is clear that the court balanced the interest at the stake of reaching the conclusion. I'm not going to say what the court says, where it's weighing. We're just going to see what they considered, okay? So factors 1, 2, 4, and 7 weigh strongly in favor of being anonymous. In her amended complaint, plaintiff alleges that defendant drugged and R-worded her when she was only 13 years old. Courts in this district have recognized that allegations concerning SA are highly sensitive and of an extremely personal nature. Plaintiff is particularly vulnerable to the possible harms of disclosure. According to her amended complaint, she continues to experience depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and seizure disorder associated with the stress of her SA. Now, she is claiming these things. She hasn't proved it, but the court has to take her allegations most favorable to her. So they take the allegations as true. Whether she has all of these other issues because of other factors are going to have to come out through the trial, through discovery. And how do we get to that discovery if she's able to proceed anonymously? They could probably redact her name, right? So let's see here. Moreover, plaintiff's counsel assert that many of his other clients who have filed similar lawsuits against Sean Combs claim to have been threatened by Mr. Combs for their decision to speak out. I don't like that the court relied on that. Buzbee's statement about his other clients. One, he shouldn't really be disclosing that in this lawsuit. You know, attorney-client privilege exists. I know he's not saying who told him that, but to say, oh, because other clients fear being retaliated against, this client also must fear it too. It's kind of like making a blanket assertion for everybody that he's going to be representing. I don't like that the court relied on that, but they did. We can't change it, okay? And finally, although plaintiff sat for an interview with NBC News concerning her case, NBC allowed her to conduct the interview anonymously. So I would like to know how this interview was done. Was she like sitting behind a wall? Did the NBC interviewers not see her? How did they do this interview anonymously? I would like to know that. But they did keep her anonymous in the article, so I guess that's enough for the court to say that she's still protecting her anonymity. I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Have y'all ever watched Finding Nemo? Finding Nemo? When they're like the anonymity. That's what I feel like when I'm trying to say that word. It's like the little jellyfish that couldn't say the word. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but that's what comes to my mind when I think of that word. Okay, granted, several factors weigh against allowing plaintiff to proceed anonymously. So the court gave us the reasons why it might be reasonable for her to go anonymous, and now they're going to give us the reasoning of why they may think that being anonymous is not the best route. Granted, several factors weigh against allowing plaintiff to proceed anonymously. Plaintiff is challenging the action of private parties, not the government, and given the media attention surrounding the case, the public has a substantial interest in this litigation, separate and apart from the general interest in an accused being able to publicly confront their accuser. Alternative mechanism may exist to protect confidentiality, namely the redaction and sealing of documents. No, we don't want y'all to hide documents. Just redact them like y'all doing in the Diddy case. Yeah, just redact them. Alternative lawyers. Most importantly, plaintiffs' continued anonymity. I'll learn it off stream. Okay, may cause prejudice to defendant, making it more difficult for them to collect the facts necessary to mount a defense, and as appropriate, challenge the plaintiff's credibility. Identifying the most significant form of prejudice to defendants as the discovery disadvantage that plaintiffs being anonymous would present. The court does not take such prejudice lightly. So they do think that the court does think that this is going to cause a problem when it's time for defendant Sean Carter, Jay Z, aka, and then also Diddy to form their defense by being able to do discovery, being able to do depositions, being able to question the father, being able to question anyone that may or may not have been there, like the music celebrities that she's saying that was there. Getting that information on who that secret celebrity was so they can also interview that person if they've ever been involved in something of that nature. So the court thinks that is going to be an issue. However, y'all let me know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Should she be able to proceed anonymously? I don't know. Y'all tell me. Y'all tell me. Nevertheless, at the exceedingly early stage of this case, the factors counseling against disclosure outweigh the counsel in favor, requiring the plaintiff to identify herself as the case approached trial. Accordingly, that was the case that they cited. Accordingly, plaintiff's motion to proceed anonymously is granted. Plaintiff is advised that because the balance of these factors will certainly shift as the case proceeds, especially if and when the parties engage in discovery in earnest, the court intends to revisit the decision at a future date. So the court is going to allow her to remain anonymous. We are not going to get to know who this person is. And you know what that means for Jay Z? This case is not going away. Do I agree with a judge? No. Because I think that if you're going to reconsider it when we get to discovery anyways, Ma'am, just let it not be anonymous now. Because what's going to happen is Jay Z and others are going to waste a lot of attorney's fees going through the case, filing motions, responding to the court, doing all of these things. And we're probably going to get to discovery, and she's probably going to have to disclose her identity. And it doesn't make sense to only disclose the identity to Jay Z, because Jay Z and Diddy are the people that she thinks is going to intimidate them. I think that if they disclose the identity to Jay Z and Diddy, they're also going to have to disclose the identity to the public. And like I said, it's going to waste the judicial resources. So in my opinion, is the judge just nosy? Because I honestly don't see a point in letting this proceed anonymously for a couple more weeks. But in reality, in this case, it's probably going to be more than a couple more weeks, because Diddy can't say anything in this case because he has the criminal case. He has a Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate himself and maybe bring additional charges to him until these criminal cases are done. So we're just going to have this lawsuit potentially just sitting here for months, maybe even years, depending on how long the criminal case goes. I know they're saying they're going to start on May 5th, but are they really going to start on May 5th? I don't know. So I think it's stupid. I don't agree with the judge. Y'all let me know if y'all agree that she should be able to stay anonymous. I want to see if Buzbee is going to stick to his allegations. But also, I don't know if it's a completely bad idea, because if getting that far, guess who is also incurring fees? Buzbee. And if I am correct in how he charges his client, he's doing this on a contingency basis. So maybe if they get further into the lawsuit, Buzbee may be able to then convince his client to continue to go forward, even if they make her disclose her name, because now it has expended a great amount of money in arguing the case and getting it to the point of discovery. So I guess it could be a win-lose situation. I think both sides are going to lose money, and it's just going to depend on whether Buzbee is able to convince his client to proceed if she can't be anonymous, because he's going to be losing money, and me just kind of not feeling bad, but kind of feeling bad that Jay Z is wasting his time and his money if she says, no, I'm not going to go forward if I'm not allowed to be anonymous. So that's my thoughts on that. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. Remember, we are live, so be sure to drop your chats in the chat box so that we can address your thoughts on it. If you're watching on the replay, go ahead and drop it in the comment section. And of course, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. We're going to jump into the next part of the court's decision. So court says homegirl can proceed anonymously. Now they're going to address the other motions. And she's going to go in on Jay Z. So if anyone is Jay Z, team Jay Z on this, just be ready for y'all person to be attacked. I'm not really on anybody's side. I will say I don't like Buzbee. I will say that Jay Z's attorney is being annoying, but I'm not really on any side. I will still say that Jay Z's attorney is lawyering well. I will still say that. I'll give him that. But maybe just too much too fast. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Remain in motion. Since Carter's attorneys first appeared in the case 17 days ago, oh gosh, the court is not happy. I said it hasn't even been 20 days, the court said. I forgot this, y'all. I know I read it before I get on stream, but sometimes stuff just highlight to me when I'm on here. Oh, okay. We started off strong. The court is about to go in. Let me prepare myself. Okay. Since Carter's attorney first appeared in this case 17 days ago, he has submitted a litany of letters and motions attempting to impugn the character of plaintiff's lawyer, many of them expounding on the purported urgency of the case. He says that the plaintiff's counsel is self-promoting and accusing him of extortion. He also said requesting to be heard on an expedited basis and accusing plaintiff's counsel of exploiting the legal process to generate media attention. He also asserts that plaintiff's counsel seeks only to benefit himself. He also requests the shortening deadline from 21 days to 1 day. He describes plaintiff counsel as willing to blatantly violate the core ethical obligations of all attorneys and requesting a hearing on a motion the following day. So the court is calling out Jay Z's attorney, much like I think Buzbee should be doing rather than attacking Jay Z directly. I will have to say that. So judge is not happy with Jay Z's attorney. Let's go on. Carter's lawyers' relentless filing of combative motions containing inflammatory language and ad hominem attacks is inappropriate, a waste of judicial resources, and a tactic unlikely to benefit their client. You're being annoying. The court said you're being annoying, respectfully, professionally. In short, you're being annoying. Wasting judicial resources. It's not going to benefit your client. So stop it. Cut it out. The court will not fast track the judicial process merely because counsel demands it. Pipe down, Jay Z's attorney. Moreover, although Carter's attorney assails plaintiff's lawyer is having a chronic inability to follow the rules, let's get into it. Although y'all say that Buzbee can't follow the rules, the court says Carter's counsel has failed to abide by this court's clear rules. Under the court's individual practices in civil cases, and with limited exceptions, a pre-motion letter is required prior to filing any motion. Although Carter's attorney stated that he intended to file immediately a motion to strike the First Amendment complaint under Rule 12F, he did not give plaintiff the requisite 5 business days to respond. Wait for the court to set a motion schedule or state whether any exceptions to the court's individual practice applied. This is unacceptable. The court's not happy. They use unacceptable like 3 times here. Counsel is hereby advised that any further motions filed in violation of the court's individual practices may be denied on that grounds alone. Follow the rules. You have to do the letter. You have to give defendant or plaintiffs 5 days to respond, and you have to wait for the court to tell you when you can file stuff. Don't keep filing stuff. Now, Buzbee did call Jay Z out that he wasn't following the rules, but they didn't put it so eloquently like the court did. And I don't think they really referenced the court's rules or anything like that. I think Buzbee was just like, it's not fair. It's not fair. They're doing it wrong. They can't file this letter. They're not even parties in the cases or in the case. So the court's not happy. The court is very, very upset with Jay Z's attorney. I just think, Jay Z, you got to sit down at that point. When they go in on you like that, you got to sit down. Lastly, although Carter's attorney is entitled to file a Rule 11 motion without first seeking leave of the court, the court discourages this approach. If he still intends to serve plaintiff with a motion for sanction, the court denies his request to shorten the safe harbor provision contained in Rule 11C2 from 21 days to 1 day. Carter's motion to strike the amended complaint under Rule 12F is denied. By January 10, 2025, plaintiff shall file her response to Carter's motion for an order directing the preservation of evidence. By January 17, 2025, Carter should file his reply, if any. Now, y'all, the only thing that stood was them asking Buzbee to preserve evidence. The evidence they probably don't got, because this happened 24 years ago. No text messages, no phone calls. Ain't no evidence. They're probably just gonna agree to preserve the evidence. Let me go back because on the merits, the Carter's motion to strike is denied. Motions to strike under Rule 12F are generally disfavored and will be granted only if there is a strong reason to do so. This is them asking for the case to be dismissed because of the salacious and scandalous assertions against them. And we talked about this on the last live stream. Just because people are saying bad things about you does not mean that it has to be stricken from the complaint. It doesn't have to be dismissed from the complaint. These are the allegations that they are making against you. It's not just against your character. These are the actual incidences that they're alleging against you. It would make it hard to not say bad things against people that you are suing. Like literally suing someone is literally saying bad things about them because you did something bad and that's why I'm suing you and asking for help from the court. So the court is like, no, those are not favored. Carter's motion, which summarily asserts that plaintiff's claims are baseless and salacious, does not clear that high bar again. You can't just say, oh, they're being mean to me. It's a lawsuit. They're going to say you're doing bad things. Like that's what the lawsuit is. That's literally what the lawsuit is. So we got in this lawsuit so far, we got Buzbee attacking Diddy, or I guess the plaintiff attacking Diddy and Jay Z, claiming that they assaulted her. Then we got Buzbee attacking Jay Z online, saying he is being a weenie by filing that extortion lawsuit. Then we got Jay Z attacking Buzbee, saying he sucks and they're doing everything wrong. And then we have Buzbee saying, no, they can't do that. They have to give me time. And then we got the court going in. We got the court going in on Jay-Z's attorney. Now, I will still say they are doing good lawyering. I think they are just doing too much too fast. And I think they're asking for remedies that are not permissible. The court has told them this is unacceptable. The court is not going to accept this any longer. So Jay-Z, you better get your attorneys in line, okay? I thought maybe they had a little bit more, experience in filing in New York because they was calling out Buzbee for doing everything wrong. But the court said, no, stop it. Stop it. It's Christmas. It's the holidays. I do not want to wake up to a ding on your case. Like, let me handle my other cases. I am not at your beck and call. The judges have different cases. They can't just hear you all day, Jay-Z's attorneys. So I thought it was funny. The girl gets to go anonymous. I think that's going to cause problems later on down the line. I think it's going to result in a lot of people wasting money and time, especially if they say she can't be anonymous once we get closer to the trial and then go from there. She might back out. And then now Jay-Z wasting money and Buzbee wasting money. I think that is what's going to happen. Buzbee may be able to convince her to proceed even when she's not able to be anonymous, which makes me concerned myself, because if they're saying she's autistic, is he going to be pressuring her? Like, how is this all going to go down? I don't know. I don't like it. But the court says, let there be anonymity, being anonymous. Okay, y'all see what I'm trying to say. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and jump into the chat. Let me know what y'all got to say about this. Let's have Bossy B. Bring us in, Bossy B. So let's go ahead and jump in the chat. If y'all have thoughts, this is your time to comment them. Kimmy has been starring the ones that are relevant to the conversation that we're having here. So if you have particular things that you want to say about the documents that we covered today, I think we are going to go and get the Texas documents and maybe cover that maybe next week, or maybe I'll do it on a short if I have time. Y'all, I've been busy. We'll cover it and see what Buzbee is alleged in that lawsuit. But do we really need 3 lawsuits in 3 different courts? Do we need this? We got lawyers suing parties and the case is not even over? And is it because they know it's going to pause because this case is not going forward without Diddy's participation? We're not going to split it up against Diddy that's not judicially efficient to let the Jay-Z case go forward before the Diddy case. Like, why are there so many lawsuits? I don't understand. Like, can we get a response in the case yet? Y'all, we got 36 people watching live with 29 likes. Let's hit the like button. I think we can make it to 50 likes because I know there's quite a few of y'all in here that haven't hit the like button yet. So if you haven't, please do. Please do. And let's see what the chat has to say. And thank you. Shout out to Kimmy for starring the chat. We got Leela Wells coming in strong, saying anonymous. She's going to be able to proceed anonymous. You got it. The court said she can stay anonymous. I don't agree, but that's the answer. Denny says, I don't think anyone should be allowed to remain anonymous unless they are presently a minor. I would agree with you on that too. I would agree. And I don't think, but I mean, Buzbee has now put out there that Jay-Z is intimidating witnesses already. So now the court can say, okay, well, this is a reason to be anonymous. But I agree. I don't think she should be able to be anonymous, especially the way that they are putting this case all in the media. And not saying it's her fault. that is in the media as her attorney. That's who she hired. Denny says, I think Jay Z came in too hot. Agreed. Too hot. I think they're doing good lawyering. I think it's just too abrasive. And we talked about this on the last live stream. Are you deflecting or are you innocent? Because why are we talking about Buzbee so much in a lawsuit? This lawsuit is not about Buzbee. The lawsuit is about the plaintiff. And we haven't even talked about the facts of the case in so long. We're just attacking Buzbee and attacking Jay Z. That's what we're doing. And now the court is attacking Jay Z's attorneys. Everybody got a vendetta against someone in this case. I found his actions odd. Let the suit proceed to the truth, so the truth can come out. In my opinion, that's the only way Jay Z can clear his name. I agree. I do think that he is trying to pressure the case to go away, and he came in too hot. I'm like, every other day is a filing. Every other day is a filing, and the court can feel it too. And someone said last week, why hasn't the court made a decision? The court is annoyed. The court is trying to spend time with their families, okay? These are people that are working at the court as well. But I agree. I do think that they have to give it time to allow the truth to come out. If that's the truth, right? If it's the truth, why are we rushing it? Kimmy Locker says, Jay Z accused Buzbee of making up a plaintiff so he got a second one. Yeah, exactly. And then he wanted that to go forward anonymously. Like, what? You can't say, oh, they're anonymous, so let me make an anonymous plaintiff too. Come on. Red Torch says, thank you for covering this, Bree. No problem. Thank you for joining in live. We got Denny saying, I said in the last live stream that Jay Z was doing too much. He is kind of. I'm not the judge, and he even got on my nerves with all those letters. That's what I'm like, I was going to cover like different topics, but every time I turned around, it was something new from Jay Z. Something new from Jay Z every single time I turned around. But I agree. And that's when we got to last stream. Are we innocent or are we deflecting? Because like, what's going on here? Why do we have to hear from you so much? You got a lot of money. I'll give him that. He got a lot of money to keep filing all these motions. Chelsea B says, I'll wait for all the facts to have a full opinion, but people have been out here for years talking about things Jay Z has been up to. I don't doubt it. Now, I'm going to say my opinion because it's my channel. If you don't like it, you can go away because people, they're being, not the live stream people, okay? No one in the live stream are feisty. In my comment section, though, on the replay crew, people are always accusing me of wanting Jay Z to be guilty. I have never on this channel said that Jay Z is guilty, and I will stand by that. What I do say is I wouldn't put nothing past him. So if it is true, I wouldn't be surprised, right? But as an objective YouTube lawyer, I am, I'm not saying he's guilty. I just wouldn't be shocked. But people are like really offended. Like, y'all should look at the comments. If y'all don't look at the comments after the stream is posted, y'all should look at some of the comments that I get. Like, people be real feisty, like Jay Z, they uncle. And he's really not. He doesn't care what y'all on the internet. He doesn't care what me on the internet has to say, right? On our little corner of BriHiveness. Okay? They don't care what we gotta say. But yeah, I don't put nothing past them, but I am looking at these cases objectively, okay? Chelsea B says, normally I'd say no, but I find it troubling how many victims have been paid off in silence or threatened by people with wealth and power. That is also a thing, but I do think and I guess it would be different if she filed with an attorney that wasn't trying this in social media and that didn't do an interview like directly after they inserted Jay Z into the case. I would probably say that, right? If this plaintiff individually had actually been threatened, I could probably say that. But literally the court is relying on believing Buzbee. And at this point, I'm like, is Buzbee and the judge friends? The way they went in on Jay Z are Buzbee and the judge friends. Don't quote me on that, y'all. I'm just asking questions, okay? Because Buzbee is annoying too. He's just not filing a lot of things. He's just not filing a lot of things. But he's annoying too. And I do think that they are capable of doing the threats. Buzbee is suing him, assuming that Buzbee is telling the truth. He's suing him in Texas, saying that he's already intimidating his clients. And sometimes I think maybe the people with the money are not really trying to bribe them, but it's just so much in their nature that it's normal for them to bribe people and they don't think anything of it too. So I can see how the money and the power and the influence can be a concern. But when you have an attorney basically making this like a class action, bringing 120 people, to me, it's not really about the victim as far as, oh, they need to be punished or something like that. It's like, okay, attorney, you're claiming you have all of these cases. Let's see if these are real people. And I think that the defendants have a right to know who's suing them and if they're real people and get in the discovery that they need. And I don't think it will work just to disclose it to the defendants in the case because it's going to get out. We're talking about celebrities. We're not talking about Joe Smo at the Walmart, right? We're talking about celebrities. Even if the celebrities are not the one to disclose the name, somebody going to tell their cousin that's on the team, and then the cousin going to tell somebody, and then somebody going to call TMZ. We're going to find out who it is eventually, right? Because there's been other people that have sued anonymously, and we already found out who they are. So I definitely get it. But in this particular circumstance, I don't agree. If they were still a minor or close to being the age, like if she was like still in her 20s, maybe. But I think she shouldn't be able to be anonymous. Kimmy Locker says, on a personal level, I understood anonymous claims, but as a legal matter, I think the confrontation clause should extend to civil suits too. And it does. And it does. And I do think that this is a sensitive matter for sure. But I think that majority of all the other factors weigh in favor of this person being identified. And you have so many lawsuits against Diddy, and the ones not filed by Buzbee, most of them are identified. So why are all of Buzbee's? He don't even got one person that's willing to come forward and say their name and stick by their story. Not one person. And again, I don't like that the court relied on Buzbee said. That's why I think that him and the judge is friends. I don't like that the court relied on, well, Buzbee said his other clients were intimidated by Combs. We're not even talking about Combs. Combs is in jail. Diddy ain't saying diddly squat, okay? He's not saying anything. So why are we talking about whether Diddy's gonna intimidate them? I know he's allegedly doing them phone calls still. I know he's allegedly doing them phone calls still. It's in the text messages and emails he's not supposed to. But we're talking about Jay Z. And now Buzbee is filing a lawsuit to support his claim that Jay Z is going to intimidate his clients by filing a lawsuit saying Jay Z has already intimidated his clients and his attorneys. Throw them in there too. I just can't believe how much the court attacked Jay Z's attorney. Like, I was not expecting to read that today. I really wasn't, because I had pulled the documents earlier, but I didn't download them. So after work, I had to go and download them. And I found this order. We wouldn't have even had this today had I done my work early. Had I done my work on time over the live stream. So yeah, that's where we are, y'all. This is where we are. We got Buzbee attacking Jay Z, Jay Z attacking Buzbee, the court attacking Jay Z's lawyers. Nobody focused on the claims of the lawsuit. This girl gets to stay anonymous at least for the next couple weeks, couple months, depending on when we get to discovery. They gonna preserve the evidence because ain't no evidence. There's not gonna be any evidence. The only evidence is gonna be her medical records and whether she went to freaking therapy for this particular instance. Now, if she talked about R word and essay in her therapy, if she's gone there, right? If she's done that, and she never brings up an incident with Diddy and Jay Z until this year, that's going to be concerning for the court, right? Because we looked into the interview and there were allegations that she was essayed by someone else previously. So is she mixing up that incident with Jay Z and Diddy because of everything going on? The house that she describes does not sound accurate, right? And so that's when they'll go into moving for a directed verdict at the trial. Motion for summary judgment. You can't prove your case. But that's all I got, y'all. That's all I got. I shouldn't be laughing because a lawsuit is about a serious matter, but what I'm laughing at, y'all, is the lawyering and what's going on in the court. Okay. I'm happy. I am happy that no one is attacking the victim, the alleged victim, the accuser, right? I'm happy that no one's attacking her. Sounds like she got enough going on. But I am happy with the lawyering and the feistiness of the court. I cannot wait to see more come out of this judge. Hopefully Jay Z's attorneys pipe down. Hopefully Buzbee stops being weird. I don't know. I just have something against him. I think I have a vendetta against him. I don't like what he's doing. I need more facts. I need more information to know whether Buzbee is doing good work or bad work. But anyways, y'all, that's all I have. I hope everyone enjoys the rest. Oh, what we got a comment of substance here. So we got Zoe B, member of the channel, says, you mean she didn't save her clothes from the night and never washed them like Monica Lewinsky, infamous blue dress? No. I don't think we're going to have that here. I don't think we're going to have that here. I don't think we're going to have any evidence, honestly. I think even the medical records are going to be hard. I think she's going to start talking about this incident in medical records more recently rather than way back when. But no, I don't think we're going to have clothes. I really don't. Kimmy Lockett says, I'm not a Buzbee fan either. I can't get behind him. And then when I found out like so many of his own clients were suing him, I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, I can't get behind Buzbee. There's some lawsuits that I've been wanting to cover. There are some Reddits that I've been wanting to cover. I'm trying to get my schedule down, y'all. I really am. But with work and everything else going on in life with the holidays, it's been difficult. So I'm going to continue to work on getting a more consistent schedule for the channel and getting more content up for the channel and just making the BriHive better for next year. I hope everyone enjoyed their Christmas. If you celebrate Christmas, hope everyone enjoys their holidays. If y'all don't celebrate Christmas, but other holidays. And I hope everyone enjoys, or y'all will see me before the new year. I should be on before the new year. If not, I should be on a short. Let me know. Maybe I should make a post to figure out what cases y'all will want to cover prior to the next live stream, because there are some pretty interesting things like the Blake Lively thing that came out, the Beige lawsuit, the TikTok, you copied me on TikTok or social media, whatever social media it was. I've been wanting to cover that one for weeks and I just haven't gotten around to it. So I'll make a post to see what has been in the streets that y'all want to cover. And I will see y'all all on the next live stream. Bye.